Shane.
I'm Andrew.
And this is The Rock Show.
Another real episode, another real installment for you guys. We're busy as hell and we love it, and we've got a lot to get through, and we want to bring it all to you guys as fast and as often as we possibly can, because that's what we're all about, is just promotion. So let's just get into it. It's great fun.
Yep. And feel free to send us your feedback. You already have been, but drop us more. Good, bad, negative, in between. Negative and bad are the same thing, but it doesn't matter.
No, it's always good because
some is more negative than others.
Some is funnier than others.
Not that we've had any negative so far, but feel free to drop that in, because we'll take it on board and definitely use it to try and improve.
And that's what we're trying to do. We feel like we're improving on a week-to-week basis or an episode-to-episode basis, and we'd like to know if you guys think the same thing. So if there's anything you guys think that we can work on to improve our product, then let us know, because we're all for getting that feedback from you guys.
Yep. But anyway, on this episode, we're going to focus on the Worshyp and their band Kingdom Earth.
Great band out of Ontario, Canada.
Yep.
Great band.
They throw back a little bit to the glory days of the big four thrash bands, Megadeth and Anthrax in particular.
Yeah, big influences there.
Yeah.
And they sort of throw back a little bit more into a taste of Judas Priest as well.
There's quite a bit of Judas Priest in there, I feel.
Yeah, no, so if you like these old bands, then you're definitely going to want to check these guys out by the time we're done talking with them.
Yeah. They're very active on Twitter, so add them and drop them a tweet every now and then, because they actually tweet back and everything like that. So
yeah, they're very, very active. They've got their own YouTube channel set up as well, so feel free to jump straight from this and go and look up the Worshyp on YouTube, because their stuff's all fantastic. So
yep. The band features members of Paul Di'Anno's solo band. Paul Di'Anno was the former vocalist of Iron Maiden, and just from hearing that those guys were in there, it made me a little bit more interested to hear the Worshyp.
Well, it's instant credibility. You've got artists like that jumping on board to get onto this project, and that shows some really good ability right there in itself. Yeah. So we've got a really good band that we're on top of here. So,
but as far as the actual Worshyp music goes, I think it's great. I'm a huge fan of Megadeth, and the Worshyp definitely for fans of Megadeth.
Oh yeah, if you like that stuff at all, if you like anything remotely thrashy from that era, then you're going to love this stuff.
Great riffs, and even the vocal style throws back a little bit to Dave Mustaine, and just early Megadeth. There's so much of that in there that it's just blatantly obvious. But
yeah, it's funny how so many of their tweets relate to what influences can you hear in these songs. I'd love to be able to see that feedback. That'd be interesting.
I've got to admit though that they're not ripping Megadeth off, but got to say that they're not.
No, not even close.
They're definitely their own band, but they wear their influences on their sleeve, and they're not afraid to say that who they've been influenced by.
Very proud of it, and I reckon that's good for them. It's definitely taking these old influences and making a stamp of their own out of it. It's great to see, and I reckon we should have a lot more bands like this out there.
Yep. I don't know about you, but if I could pick a favourite track off the album, it would probably be The Sewers.
Yep.
That's a great track. And what about you?
I reckon my top one would be... There's a couple I'd like to mention. One of them being, though, for me, Left 4 Dead.
Left 4 Dead is a great track.
I love that track.
I love Under Surveillance. Under Surveillance is another really, really good song.
Yeah, and if I can throw another one in, it's Gang Lords.
Yeah.
I reckon those two tracks for me are the ones that sum up this album perfectly. They're great tracks, really good, solid, heavy stuff, and this is a metal album, not a rock album, so this is definitely a metal album.
The sun goes down in the city. The reaper walks the battleground. The street walls marked with graffiti. The gang lords control this part of town. This part of town.
How do you feel about the crop circles?
The instrumental
opening.
I love it. When we've got a website coming up, which we've spoken about before, we're still working way through that. On that website, we're going to put our written reviews of these albums. When I was writing up my review for this album, I spent, I don't know how long, raving about this instrumental. It's rarely done, and I love it when it is done. And the fact that these guys have put it on their debut album speaks volumes to me. I reckon that's just brilliant, and it's a beautiful, beautiful piece of
It
music.
is a great piece of music. It's not just an instrumental for the sake of throwing an instrumental on there. You can tell that there's been a lot of thought put into it.
Yeah,
It actually throws back to the days of the Call of Cthulhu and Orion coming out on the Metallica albums.
Yeah,
It's a really good piece, and it really sets the tone for the rest of the album. I think so.
It does, and I've missed those sorts of things personally on the metal records and things like that, and even your rock albums. It doesn't matter for these guys to get together and do instrumentals is rarely done these days.
Well, you threw it out there earlier that one of the only albums you've heard with an instrumental in it in the last few years is Disturbed's Asylum.
Yeah, well, the opening track of that is an instrumental, and it pans straight into the second track, which is Asylum, but it's at the same time, this one sets the stage and the tone for the album perfectly, and they've done it well. It's not a half-assed attempt. It's a really well written piece of music. Sorry, I want to get my words out right. So.
And another one that I thought of is Suicide and Redemption from Metallica's Death Magnetic album. Yeah. It was good to see them go back to that sort of stuff. Yeah. But anyway, we're talking about the Worshyp at the moment. So.
It's good to see a resurgence of this kind of stuff, though. It's been missed, in my opinion, and I reckon we should see more of it. So all the metal bands out there, give it some thought, because it's worth it as far as I'm concerned anyway.
Yeah. But anyway, that's enough about the Worshyp and Kingdom Earth. But they are a great band. Check them out.
Absolutely. We'll have the links up on the screen and stuff if you haven't already noticed, and absolutely follow these guys, because I reckon there's going to be a void in the next, say, 10 years when the big four start to peter out, and some of them are going to have to step off stage, so to speak, and
I think it might take a little bit longer than 10 years, but eventually,
And I reckon these guys have the potential to jump straight in where any one of those big four leave off.
I think for now that they'd be a perfect opening band for the big four tours. They'd fit straight in. They're perfect for that.
You can imagine the festival with these sorts of bands on there, the old ones, and just having these guys as the new blood coming through it. You can just see it helping give metal in general that rise back to the top that we're all trying to see make happen, and just that would be awesome. I'd love to be able to go and see these guys live, much as we said in the last episode.
I think that they're definitely capable of leading the charge for the next generation of thrash metal bands.
It's not new metal, it's just new old school metal, and it could potentially really seriously be a monster, because there are some tracks on the album that have certain little riffs and stuff that remind me of certain other debut albums. I'm not going to go into names, but those bands then went on to become monsters. So if that's a sign of things to come for these guys, then look out, basically, because they're going to be awesome.
Yep. So keep your eye out for the Worshyp. They're going to be good.
Brilliant. Love them. So.
Yep. All right. We wanted to give you guys an idea of what we've been listening to lately. So we're going to close out this episode by giving you a couple of albums that are pretty recent that we've been listening to.
Yeah, just some new established albums, or albums I should say, new ones from established bands that we've been listening to on repeat regularly lately. We listen to a lot of music, that's what we do for fun, but these ones are our sort of picks or flavours of the month kind of thing. Not that this is a monthly thing, it's just going to come up whenever we want it to, but these are our current little favourites, I guess.
So one of mine for sure is Blunt Force Trauma from Cavalera Conspiracy.
Oh, it's great to see them get back together.
Very brutal album, and it is great to see the Cavalera brothers playing together again.
Yeah, and I reckon it's just re-energised the whole thing for those guys. I reckon the pair of them have just found a new energy and just gone for it. What I've heard of the album is just brilliant.
Yeah,
so.
There's always a lot of talk about Sepultura reunions, the original lineup. I don't really need to see that. I'm happy with them making new music together.
Yeah, I don't know if it would ever actually happen.
I'm not sure, but that's a discussion for another episode.
Or a podcast or
episode
whatever
on its own, But definitely check out Blunt Force Trauma by Cavalera Conspiracy. Yeah. And the other one that I'd like to throw out there for you at the moment is Forevermore by Whitesnake, their new album. It's great. Unreal. I can't even describe it. I didn't know what to expect from it when I put it on. I really wasn't expecting much, but it's rarely been out of my CD player since, because it's just fantastic. David Coverdale's voice still sounds amazing, and
It's good to see one of the older bands sort of try and come back to the
Well,
fore.
they never really went away.
No, but there's
They did for
always
a
the
while,
ebb and flow of things,
Yeah.
and when you get a good new release that comes out, it's always good and it gives you that feeling that things are okay and all right in the rock and metal world, and it'll all get back to normal, back to being on top where it's exactly supposed to be.
So your pick.
I've only got the one I want to talk about, and that's because I love this one to death, and I'm a massive, massive fan of Disturbed, and the latest album for me, Asylum, is by far their best one yet. I reckon it's their most progressive, their most advanced, their most evolved album, if you will. And 2 tracks on that album bluntly stand out to me. There's no denying these 2 tracks in my opinion. One of them being The Animal, I love it, and the other one being Innocence. If you can get a chance to just check out those 2 tracks alone, it'll sell you on this album, in my opinion. I reckon they're brilliant. And yeah, massive, massive fan of
Disturbed are a great band. They've been around for a while now.
Over a decade now, so...
It speaks volumes about them really when that album, Asylum, has been out for probably 6 months or longer now,
yeah,
and it's still in heavy rotation on your CD player. So
I haven't been able to put it away. if I'm listening and I'm not sure, I want to put music on, I'm not sure what I want to listen to, I can never go wrong with that one album. That out of the established acts, that one album is just the one that I'll go to as my fallback every single time, and I'll get a buzz out of it. It has not gotten stale on me, and I got it pretty much the day it came out, and I haven't gotten bored of it in any way, shape or form.
They're actually on tour in Australia. They'll be playing in Melbourne
on the 24th of April.
So if you haven't got tickets, see if you can get some. It's probably sold out by now, but
if you get a chance, snap them up, because I know I, for one, will be very, very jealous of that. So
I've seen them live before, and they do put on a great show. So get down there and see them if you can. Yeah,
absolutely. And if you get a chance to see the Worshyp while you're out and about in Canada, then absolutely do it. Do yourself a favour, check these guys out. It's well worth it.
Yep.
So
until then, you can always get a copy of the Kingdom Earth album off iTunes. So
yeah, and they also ship worldwide from their store on their own website. So all those details are up on the screen. So make sure you go and check out those things, and even if you just listen to a sample, I reckon that'll be all you need to be sold on what these guys are capable of. So get on board early. This is another band that you don't want to miss the boat on.
Yep.
You don't want to be a bandwagon supporter 5 or 10 years from now when these guys are really hitting the top. Get on now while they're young, fresh, early on in the scene, and be one of those guys that can claim that you were there from the start. Get on now and do that. It's well worth it.
Yeah. Well, that's about it for the Rock Show for today.
A little bit shorter this time, no 2-part segments, just straight up episode. So we've managed to nail this one in a take, so we're happy.
Yeah.
And I guess that's all for now. So drink up
and rock on.